What's going on, guys? It's Ben with liftedimports.com, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that I've been seeing a lot of lately. This is just going to be more of a, I don't know, I guess a friendly conversation that I wanted to have with you guys. But before we jump into that, if you want more information about lifting your Subaru, taking it off-road and that type of thing, head over to the liftedimports.com website. Lots of good stuff over there for you to check out, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. But let's go ahead and jump into this. And what I wanted to share with you today is just kind of some thoughts that I've had recently, and these thoughts have been based on just an overarching sentiment that I've noticed in the off-road Subaru community as of recently. And I guess it's kind of been a long-term thing, but I will see posts from people that will say stuff like, oh, my Subaru gets out and sees more trail time than your pavement princess 4x4. Or I saw another one recently that was it was like a video, and you guys have probably seen this one, but it was somebody in a Crosstrek pulled up to the top of some trail, and there was a bunch of Jeeps out there, and the caption said something like, yeah, I bet when these Jeeps saw a Crosstrek roll up to the top of this trail, they reconsidered their purchase decision or whatever. And it's just stuff like that where it's almost like I feel that Subaru owners are just showing up to a fight that nobody else knows is happening except for them. Like, dude, so what if you did a trail and there were other Jeeps there, and you know your Subaru's way less capable, but you still made it? Who cares? Just because their car is capable doesn't mean they have to always be doing crazy trails. It doesn't mean, like, I don't understand the mentality behind this whole idea of like, yeah, I'm so much cooler than Jeep owners, and I'm so much cooler than 4Runner owners, and oh, nobody needs a 4x4, blah blah blah. Like, oh, I bet these 4x4 drivers are reconsidering their life decisions after watching me go through that mud pit. Dude, nobody cares. You know what I'm saying? Like, literally nobody gives a fudge. It's like we're just like the nerdy kids on the block that are just out here having fun. Nobody's intimidated by us. I guess it's just this like weird superiority complex that I see from Subaru owners that take their cars off-road. Now, this is coming from somebody who's been driving Subarus for almost 20 years. I love these cars. I think they're fantastic. I've owned like 20 Subarus. But you guys, I just don't understand this immediate defensive behavior and mindset. It's like you guys will roll into any situation and just immediately right out of the gate have this like defensive attitude that just doesn't need to be there. Yes, Subarus can be capable. I've done so much stuff in Subarus that I had no idea was possible. But that being said, don't get it twisted. Like, seriously, don't think that your Subaru is actually more capable when the crap really hits the fan. There's no substitute for a low range T-case and the ability to fit massive tires. I'm sorry, but if you're running 35s or 37s even, which is pretty basic, that's kind of a small tire size by today's standards, if you're running something with those tire sizes and you're really in it, dude, there is no comparison to even the most built out Subaru. Now, obviously there are Subaru owners who've completely built their Subaru from the ground up to have a 4x4 T-case. You know, there's a lot of people who are actually converting their Subarus to 4x4, but that's a whole different side of things. That's a different story. But even the most modified all-wheel drive Subaru that's still technically a Subaru, even the most modified version of that is never, ever in a million years going to have the same crawling capabilities that even a mildly modified Jeep would have. I promise you, when you roll up somewhere and you make it to the top of a trail, there's nobody in any 4x4, any Jeep that's actually intimidated by you. I promise you that. Now I will say this, as somebody who's heavily involved in the off-road Subaru community and heavily involved in the off-road 4x4 scene, I can say that when we're out in our 4x4s and we do see people show up in smaller cars that most people would deem to be less capable, there's no negativity from us when we see that. If anything, we see that and we're like, dude, that's sick, you know, that's like that's another person that's just getting out there and enjoying nature and seeing, you know, seeing nature, getting out on the trails and becoming another asset to the off-road community. I guess what I wanted to share is I just would like to see Subaru owners have a little bit more positive mentality about other people. I know that it might feel that because our cars are considered less capable that we get looked down on by other people, and you're always going to have bad apples in every group, but in general that is a situation that is more in our heads than it is reality. And if you come into a situation already having a negative expectation of an outcome, that's exactly what you're going to get. Whether or not it really happens or not, in your head you're always going to go there and be like, oh, I bet that person's looking at me because whatever. But I just want to encourage you guys to have a more positive look at other off-roaders, and don't hesitate to get out with people that are in real 4x4s. That is actually how I picked up the majority of my off-road technique. I spent a lot of time with guys actually in Toyotas that were pretty big. They would let me tag along in my Subaru. I learned how to set up proper recoveries. I learned driving technique and line choice by going out with those dudes, and I was really able to push the car in a way that I wouldn't have been able to if I wasn't with vehicles that were a little bit more capable, that could give me that assurance that I could get out of a bad situation if I really got stuck. So I guess I just want to see a little bit more positivity and just an overall feeling of community among off-roaders. There doesn't need to be such a thing as off-road Subarus and then 4x4s. It doesn't need to be an exclusive thing. I would encourage you to get out with owners of all different types of vehicles. Another thing that I hear and see that I think is kind of dumb is people will say things about other people's cars that's just kind of stupid. So you'll hear people say like, oh, my Subaru sees more dirt than that stupid lifted pickup will ever see in its whole existence, blah blah. Dude, who cares, man? Like seriously, who cares? A lifted pickup truck that somebody modified to their liking doesn't have to be out there getting annihilated on the trails for it to be a cool car for somebody's needs. It could just be a tow rig, or it could be their daily driver. Who gives a fudge? If you want to modify your car a certain way, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter if it's a 4x4, doesn't matter if it's a Subaru, doesn't matter what it is. When you guys say stuff like that, it literally just sounds jealous. That's all it sounds like to me. Like, oh, that idiot, he's not beating up a $100,000 truck on the trails. What a nerd. Do you guys know how stupid that sounds? That's so dumb. You guys will say stuff like, oh, that truck's not being used for what it was intended for, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, how many of you have ever participated in a stage rally event? How many of you have even done a basic autocross event? Probably none of you. Your cars are technically rally cars, aren't they? Why aren't they being used in rallycross? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so much dumb stuff that I feel like people think they need to say, because I think it's just jealousy. It's the same thing as if you will hear people that they'll see somebody that's in really good shape and be like, oh, I bet that guy's on steroids, yada yada yada. Like, it just sounds dumb. Like, who cares if he's on steroids? Who cares if his dad paid for the truck? Who gives a fudge? It doesn't matter. It's not yours. I don't know why there needs to be this like just negativity towards other people's stuff. So I'd love to see a little bit more positivity from everybody, and don't approach other people as competition. Don't, like, in your head, don't view other people as something you need to be intimidated by. Just get out there, make friends with other enthusiasts, and look at the good in everybody else's builds. Look at the good in everybody else's way of life and everybody else's driving style, driving technique, and all that sort of thing. And I promise you, your horizons will expand. I'm telling you, once I actually started getting out with other people that were heavy into the off-road stuff, I picked up so much knowledge, so much technique, and I made good friends that I'm still friends with to this day that I would consider to be very good people. So I just wanted to share that with you today. Again, I just feel like there's so much, there's so much good positivity in the Subaru community, but at the same time, I hear and see so much just unnecessary competition that's really just in our own heads that doesn't need to be there. So go out there, make friends with a 4Runner owner, make friends with a Jeep owner, make friends with that dude that's got that goofy looking pickup truck that's never seen mud, Just be cool to people, and you'll learn a lot and most likely create good experiences. Anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for hanging out and listening to my TED Talk. I'll talk to you guys soon.